It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. A few Titans players just stepped off the podium at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, speaking with Titans media, including quarterback Ryan Tannehill, who was asked about his thoughts on the Titans waiting until the 7th round of the NFL draft to take a receiver.
They don't ask me, my thoughts on draft picks. Mike and Rand make those decisions. Obviously, I knew it was an area that could be addressed, but they did just a little bit probably later than I thought it was going to. But we added some other key positions, some talent that will help us across the board.
NBA playoffs tonight. The 76ers have a 1-0 lead over the Celtics in the Eastern Conference semifinals. Game 2 is tonight in Boston at 7 p.m. Tuesday night, Sixers star Joel Embiid was named MVP for the first time in his career. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once and your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. What y'all think about this Titans press conference? Did you hear it? Roger McCreary says he's working out with KB this offseason. Kevin Byard says he's working inside and outside. And Chick says he needs to play with more confidence. Can't just rely on speed all the time. Mentioned some interesting things about the Tim Kelly offense. We'll get to some of the sound later. I mentioned speed and going faster. Aaron Brewer says he's 290 pounds now. Learned from Ben Jones. He mentioned Tim Kelly's offense, more up-tempo. Says they're still early in the process, though. The Tannehill, he said a bunch of stuff. You heard what Lucas Panzica played. Says maybe they could have taken a receiver sooner. Said he's not crazy about turf as opposed to grass. Blaine, he's given some opinions on some things.
Oh, I wonder why. Ding, 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 ding. Quarterback drafted in the second round. Now I get to say what I want to say.
Yep.
I'm going to still be respectful, but I get to say what I want to say. And so then, see, now you understand why players have to be more systematic in their answers. And then now it's the writing on the wall, whether it's this year, next year, whenever it's coming. And so, he gave his own opinion. He just answered the question. But guess what? When they asked him a personal question about his contract, he didn't answer that question. We're not going to be sitting up here talking about negotiating my contract and what we did or didn't do. That's not happening. See? So now anything got to do with him, but anything got to do with the organization, now he's going to see. So quietly, he is, I guess, being respectful, but yet giving his honest opinions on certain issues I think he would have skirted around before. Mm-hmm. That's always good. But that's when you know it's coming to an end.
Because everybody else got to ask about turf or grass. I don't care. I just want to play football.
Exactly. That's the customary answer. Guess what? As a player, I would have said that because I know daggone well we moving from grass to turf, and I want to play on grass, and they moving.
Well, as you've said many times, they don't care what you think. Mm-hmm. Nobody cares.
They don't.
Nobody cares.
No decisions are determined by it. I don't understand why people, especially the fans, why they think the players have any input. It's no different than you're an employee at Cumulus to whatever job you do, McDonald's, wherever. Nissan, if they decide to move the headquarters to, Hong Kong, your butt going to be in Hong Kong. It doesn't matter. You're like, we're going to ask you guys, you okay with Hong Kong? Even though Hong Kong's going to build us a new building and charge us nothing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bye-bye, birdie.
It's just a memo that says, hey, if you want to keep your job.
Yeah. We'll pay for your move.
Right. Just get ready for Hong Kong.
For all those that can't be replaced.
Right. Anybody who can be replaced, you will.
So sports is no different. And that's what I'm getting at. It's no different. So, yeah, man. So, they've done all this reporting and, some of it as far as grass versus turf and all these different turfs, and doesn't have a long history of some of these new turfs, besides 3, 4, 5 years. So you never know if it's good or bad for your body or not. But through history, a lot of guys know that not only it's not good for your legs and everything else, we're talking about for your skin. And, some people have tried to say that there's cancerous type, things that can happen to you, to your skin. So you just don't know what's true or not. But I know daggone one thing. Going from when we moved here from the Astrodome turf to here on grass, I said, hallelujah. And guess what? I was saying, oh, yeah, that'll be cool. I'm glad we're on there. But then until you go through a season, oh, man, it was a life changer.
How bad was the turf in Houston?
I firmly believe I had a torn meniscus. Initially, I did in Houston. And if I had to go and continue to play on that turf, I would probably have no meniscus. I tore my lateral meniscus there and had surgery. And then I had half of it still left there, and I still have it. So I think I would have lost it if I would have kept playing on turf. So there would never been no hitman. Yeah, so it was a great difference because I could feel it on my knee, my ankles, waking up just the next day. You don't feel it, while you're playing or anything like that, but you definitely know the next day. Yeah.
Some of that 80s turf was so bad. You talked about in high school.
I wasn't on the 80s turf. Let's get that right. I wasn't on the 80s turf. I got in the league in the mid-90s.
Guys wore sneakers, though. And you talked about wearing sneakers in a high school game in the Colts Stadium, the old stadium.
Yeah, I did. I wore sneakers. Yeah, I wore my Vias there. I wore some Nike's volleyball shoes in the Astrodome a couple times until Nike told me I had to I couldn't do that.
Hey, man, I'm wearing your shoes. Who cares?
Right. Yeah, but they said those are not the ones that's in the book.
Hey, you come run on
I said,
this
I bought
stuff.
mine from the store. They're still Nikes. And they really didn't notice it until actually I spat it up. Because the volleyball shoes were coming off at times, but they were really light and they could grip really good. So, you just going with whatever you think it performs. But, yeah, Tannehill answered a lot of questions. You know what the most important thing that I got out of all of that, and I know we talked about a lot of them things, they're changing some portions of their offense. Mm-hmm. That was and he clarified and said, no, not just for, I'm going to give it the hurry-up term. Up-tempo is what they said, yeah. Up-tempo. And that we've made some other changes and terminology. So this is something that I've been begging for. So only things left is at least get some veteran receiver. And when I say veteran, I am not talking about a guy that's 32. I'm not with that program, unless he's a bad mamma jamma. And I never have been, and just like I wasn't for the Julio Jones deal and everybody else who had somewhat of an injury history, as well as Hopkins, who does. I'm not with that, but I'm talking about a guy who's not a superstar type player, but a really productive NFL player. So I don't know where they're going to get that from, but just like Tannehill said, I was a little surprised they didn't draft a wide receiver. And now, could I be wrong? Could they have done this, Lucas? I'm just throwing out a theory that could have happened. I did not sit down and watch the entire draft in the entirety of the deal in a row. But could the Titans have taken Hendon Hooker in the second round and stay put? Think about this, Lucas. This is all for you and your UT fans. Because Hooker didn't go to the third round, so I'm assuming he would have been their second round, right?
Oh, yeah.
They could have then not lost their third round pick and moving their third round pick down 10 slots or whatever the number was. And they could have then taken their allotment of receivers, and they could have took Tillman, Hyatt,
or Downs.
Right. They could have. So if you would have stayed put and not taken and move up to get Levis, you could have taken Hooker's second round at a later spot, whatever that was, and then been able to take a third round receiver and have your options since you were moved down 10 more slots. So you missed out on the Downs, Tillman, and Hyatt. So you could have been able to take one of those guys.
Okay, bye.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I just thought about that when I was driving here.
No, that's
it dawned on me. I was like, well, dang.
You had picked 41 in the second round.
Uh-huh.
And then you had, I got this in my notes. You had pick 40.
And you wouldn't have lost picks along the way.
No, didn't they just give up, swap those picks in the second and then just give up next year's third?
But they swapped and moved back in the third round and the fifth.
Which was a part of it.
Right, okay.
They moved back 10 slots in the second. You can check it, though, but I was just guessing.
You're right.
I did not go look this up, but it dawned on me. I was like, well, dang, I think they could have held pat. You got it all written down there?
Yeah, man.
Oh, without even talking about it.
We share a brain. The Titans had picks 41 and 72 on Friday. They needed, and this is my notes, directly what I wrote down for the draft, wide receiver, cornerback, and then I had quarterback. Wide receiver, cornerback, quarterback, tight end were just some things I had written down. They traded up to get Will Levis. They traded to 33 when they actually traded with Arizona. they went back to 81 from 72.
So they lost 9 slots. I said
So
10.
between
Okay.
picks 73 and 79, Hyatt, Tillman, and Josh Downs were all drafted.
See, they could have got him if they just would have held pat and took Hooker.
72. You could have had any of those guys, and you could have taken Hooker at 41.
Because they are right. When they picked, there probably wasn't, since they lost and had to move down, someone worthy of that slot that they would have been reaching on a receiver. They had graded a lot lower. So either that, then maybe they should have traded back, even again right there, if they really wanted to get a receiver, and picked up another pick or slid up in another round. I don't know. I don't know if they had those kind of options. But hindsight's always 20/20. But yeah. So I was sitting there thinking, like, dang, they could have maybe even came out with a win on somewhat of a business side of it, making transactions and still being able to get need positions at their value. So what it tells me is whoever scouted, whether it was Rand or Vrabel, they really loved Levis to the point that they thought enough that they was going to move back up into the first round if he was there at the bottom, or up in the early second round, which is what they did to get him. Now you say, how much did they love him? Because they could have just taken him with their 11th pick.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't have never got a top flight offensive lineman like Skoronski, who's technically sound already like a NFL player. And I'm talking about high-level NFL player as far as his technique. He's been well coached for a long time, and that's how you come in and have that kind of success in the Big Ten immediately. So they they should act like as though they won because they got their franchise quarterback in the second round for great value, as well as they got, in their mind, probably, if not the best, one of the best offensive linemen in the draft. And he's on a 4-year contract. So to me, that lends to they need to play him sooner than later because they don't have to say, oh, pick up the 5th-year option. So there's always different ways to look at it after it was over. They don't know. Maybe those guys didn't get taken in the third round. I couldn't believe they weren't going to get past the third round, though. None of those guys were 4th, 5th round type players. Quality players really in the second and third round really impact your team pretty quickly.
How do you think last year's – and I know it is what it is. If they had spent this much time trying to find better offensive linemen for last year's team, how much could last year's team could have been better? Where you never got to Daly and, maybe –
Well, it goes back to the bust, the guys that they drafted, they just busted. From Panda to even Invadance.
Haven't fixed that.
Yeah, so that's what destroyed them. So they're playing catch up. Unfortunately for Rand and Vrabel, that really hurt. And I know everybody could talk about the A.J. Brown deal, but they still haven't really addressed the receiver position in my mind that are going to impact the team immediately. That's the only thing really I have an issue with. I have no problem with Tajay Spears. He's a really good player. I think he's going to be a productive player. I think he's going to produce immediately as a third down back. There's nothing he can't do really well. Now, how long he's going to have to do it for, I don't think they give a rat's you-know-what about that because they say, hey, man, if you're going to be here 3-4 years, hey, that's all we need.
100%.
Yeah, so.
Remember when they re-signed Derrick Henry to a second contract, there were people around the league who ridiculed that. Even Derrick Henry, like, don't sign any running back to a second round, to a second contract. What are you guys doing? Okay, well, then we'll just draft this guy who's probably going to play 4 years. Yeah. Just get everything out of 4 years.
They missed on a couple of those guys, too, as well. But, Henry's a unicorn. I mean, he's a different cat, man. So, yeah, we shall see. It's still not over, as Vrabel expressed to us. I wish he wouldn't have said on Monday because, there was only like 9 transactions, I think, on that day, on Monday. But there is still plenty of time to get, guys in transactions from this world, whether it's trade and I don't know where they would get the collateral to move up, unless you're going to use what you've been saying yesterday is players with picks, future picks in the draft. But we'll see. We'll see. I just don't think they value receiver to that high. I think they can develop or get some solid, athletic, tall, big receivers and develop them, and they'll be productive in their system. That's what it looks like over these last 2 years, because when you have a pressing need, you eventually address it sooner than later, and it still hasn't. They're going to say that we didn't want to force our hands, but I'm just like Tannehill. I thought we would have drafted a receiver hire.
There is a receiver transaction that is said to be happening in the NFL,
What?
which could trickle down and affect the Titans. We talked about it potentially yesterday, and Schefter said today it is happening. We'll tell you that. Also, when we come back, we'll talk about that to start the segment, but midway through the segment, we will be joined by the brand new Titans tight end, Josh Wiley. We'll talk to the big guy. All that coming up next. Blaine and Mickey. Lucas, you're playing some Kiss here, man. What was it? Did I miss something? Sometimes you'll play something and you'll tell me, well, here's why I played it.
No, nothing happened.
All right, just the second trip coming up for them on the farewell tour. They'll say farewell to Nashville yet again as the farewell tour continues to hit cities multiple times. I love them, but it's okay, guys. You can say farewell. You can mean it.
Lucas said he's going to Taylor Swift. He's going this weekend.
I would actually love to go if anybody's got a pair of tickets for Friday's show.
Yeah, the same for me. My daughter, I could be the hero of heroes for Taylor Swift.
Oh.
You a big Taylor Swift guy?
Yeah, I'm going.
You old rascal.
How do you think I knew? I never know the concerts.
I know, you know. You're low-key, man. You hit the sites, man. You hit the town. All the restaurants.
Yeah, I try to be low on the totem pole. That's where they told me that's where I'm supposed to be. So,
well, you can be high on the totem pole if you see T Swizzle. That'll be a fantastic show, man.
I don't know, man. May have an appearance on stage. You never know.
Now that I would like to see. Lucas and me need to be there to see that. You need to drag us along backstage if that happens.
For sure.
Yeah.
I doubt that for sure. Oh, man. Yeah, I have to address this dude over here. I don't know his name anyway. Anyway, I said Skorowski was horrible. I did not say that last Friday. I said the only time you saw him have trouble was when he was playing Ohio State and Michigan. And I said he still didn't give up any sacks, but the length, you could tell, gave him a little bit of an issue because he gave up pressures. But I said, I don't think I ever saw him give up a sack. And I think that's when I asked you, do you had to give him any sacks? And you said it was some single-digit number over his career at Northwestern. So, solid player. So I never said that. I don't know why. And what's so funny is, and I get why, if you come in and turn on your radio and you only hear a portion of the conversation, it's really hard to digest, everything someone's saying it through a thorough conversation. So I said he was super skilled, technically sound. I said all those things last Friday for whoever this guy's name. Yeah, D good.
I think what he was taking issue with was what he thought you said about Big Ten pass rushers, about the guys that he was going up against.
Yeah, I know, and I'm glad you said that because that's what I said. I just said that, Lucas. When he went against the elite guys in the Big Ten, he seemed to have issues because they were getting pressure but no sacks. Same thing I said Friday. That's exactly what I said.
Yeah, I think what he thought you said was that Big Ten doesn't have good pass rushers.
Oh, no, I didn't say that. But those elite teams were better. So that's what I was really trying to convey. Maybe I messed it up how I should have conveyed
Imagine listening to a whole radio show, though, and that's your takeaway. Like, well, how dare you say the Big Ten can't rush the passer lane?
Well,
Even
I'm
though
from
you
the Midwest.
didn't say that.
I grew up watching Big Ten football. I was a big fan. Michigan, Ohio State, so I got all those games as well as Notre Dame. I was a Notre Dame fan growing up. Going to a Catholic high school that was the Fighting Irish, it was almost impossible not to be.
Wearing the same uniform?
Yep, same color helmets,
sweet,
everything.
Man.
Yeah.
Gold helmets.
Yeah, Jerry Fowles. Yeah, bang, you're no good. Okay.
Who thinks somebody's good, though, is Aaron Rodgers thinks Randall Cobb is good. Remember, we just kept saying, well, let's just wait till
and you kept saying he was going to go there, too.
He's going there.
I know.
Schefter got it.
I tweeted that. Like, man, I don't know how to – I want to ask Jordan Dejani. I mean, how much does Randall Cobb – and I'm a fan of his, but not here recently at the end. He's not the same guy. Okay. See, this is where I didn't want to get to. When you start not being the player you were, I'm shutting it down. I'm done. I'm not going to keep trying to, keep playing because they said, I'm going to pay you. No, you're just on the roster, and then you have to sit here and see yourself in this backup stand on a sideline role. So I don't know how good Randall Cobb is today. Randall Cobb in his day was awesome. But right now, I don't know how actually good he is. Now, he could be a productive player in the slot, but I don't know. So, I don't know. How good do you think he is right now? What was his stats last year?
Bet he had 30-something catches for 300.
He was injured
yards.
half the season, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he's just like CP3 to me. It's like, dude, you're old and you keep straining muscles.
A groin made out of paper mache.
As soon as I tore my abductor's lungus, what did I do?
You're almost exactly right.
I retired.
Yeah.
You said how many catches, Mickey?
I said like 32 for 380.
34 for 417. You're like 40 yards off.
I'm stats.
Well, that's actually pretty decent stat.
He actually took a step up. He had more touchdowns in 2021. He only had one touchdown last season.
He is playing for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he had 5 in 21, but he had less catches and less yards in 2021.
All right, now I'm going to ask the real question then. Here's the real question. Would Randall Cobb help the Tennessee Titans wide receiver room?
Wouldn't inspire anybody.
See? But when you get connected to the Aaron Rodgers, it's totally different.
Jameson said, honestly, he'd be 2 here.
See, you're probably right.
The Zone TV chat. We need to frame that.
See, I went from one extreme to the other. So what's the guy's name? He can pound me for this one. Like, man, nah, he's done. Well, but if he came to the Titans, he'd be for sure. He'd be looking like Robert Woods-esque.
And he can't play special teams anymore, so he would be like 2 or 3. Because 4's playing special teams, 5's playing special teams.
Well, he was, he can return. He used to return punts, right?
He did.
And kickoff.
I don't know if I
do that.
But here they're just like, can you catch it? Fine.
Remember, they had Woods back there doing that.
Robert Woods was calling his agent like, hey, man, I need you to start a rumor about me on the internet so they'll cut me. I don't want to return punts.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, dang, and he's short-handed.
You think he could believe it? Y'all know how old I am? I got one good leg.
Oh, man.
What are we? There.
And y'all went to, now y'all get to see that. They ain't care nothing about it in there. We pay you $10 million right, get back there. You good? You can still catch, right? You see the ball.
All these young dudes who are trying to feed their family on special teams. You don't think one of them would try to catch the ball and return it? I'm not. I'm going to get down.
Yeah.
And he did an admirable job of doing it, too.
Right. So the Titans had another guy then that they let slip through the door. They should have signed Randall Cobb, is what everybody's saying, if he'll be a 2 here. You agree with that, Lucas?
Say it again. I was cutting audio.
Oh, no, I know. I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask you, where would Robert Woods be? I mean, I'm sorry. I keep going Robert Woods.
Cobb
be Randall Cobb on the Titans roster.
Right now?
Would he help their team? The wide receiver room. Would he help the team?
He'd be by far their most experienced. I mean, I think that just that veteran presence would mean something because it's who's the next most experienced guy? It's Chris Moore.
It's Chris Moore by 8 miles, and then it's NWI.
So it would be Cobb by 1,200 miles.
By more than well, Chris Moore's been around a pretty good while. This is like year 8 for him. And you looked up because you thought Wiley should be joining us here in a minute, the Titans tight end. But you looked this up because you thought Randall Cobb was like 35, and he's 32.
32, yeah.
He's 32 years
Barely
old.
been in the league over a decade.
He's 32.
But how many games did he play last year? I thought he missed like 4 games. And over the last couple years, he's still good, man.
13 games last year. Yeah.
Played 13 out of the 17.
We got Josh Wiley joining.
games.
He is he's checking in right now, so we'll talk to new Titans tight end. Lucas is greeting him on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. We can definitely pick up this. That's a trivia question we need to put out. If Randall Cobb was on the Titans, what receiver would he be? We'll put that out.
Wow,
Our crack staff will get a poll out on that. At Blaine and Mickey on Twitter, by the way. Follow us there. At Blaine and Mickey on Instagram. Follow us there. Feel free to follow us anywhere. Anywhere we go.
Got this giant of a tight end, man. 6'6" that can run. Wow. I went back and watched some highlights and everything. I was like, man, I can't wait to ask him this one question. I thought, like, man, he could have come out as junior. I got to ask him. I don't know. He probably said, yeah, I'm glad I waited because I barely got in there at the 5th.
But we can ask him now because he's on with us. New Titans tight end Josh Wiley at Josh Wiley 81. Josh, how in the world are you doing, man? It's got to have been like a whirlwind last few days. How are things settling in for you?
Everything's been good, man. I'm really excited to get down there. Just get started with the team. But everything's been good. Been packing my things. Yeah.
Well, I got to ask you this. Your coach is friends with a certain coach of the Tennessee Titans, of course, Luke Fickell, Mike Vrabel, best buddies. Has he given you any kind of like inside dirt or stories or like here's how you deal with Mike Vrabel? What's he told you to kind of give you the upper hand on, understanding and working with your new coach?
He hasn't given me anything yet. I'm just kind of going in. I'm sure there's going to be challenges and adversity along the way, but Coach Fick was a pretty tough coach to play for at Cincinnati. And so I feel pretty confident, going into things. I know Coach Vrabel stresses upon, like, effort and finish and violence. And those are all things that I know. So I'm really excited just to get going, get started.
Man, you talking about finishing with violence. That'll get Titans fans excited on this phone line here. Josh Wiley, new Titans tight end, joining us.
Well, Josh, I'm kind of start backwards, man. I was so impressed with your film. Did you consider coming out your junior year?
I did. I tried to put that decision off to the end of the season, and I ended up getting hurt in the Alabama game in the playoffs at the end of the year. So that decision was kind of made for me. So.
Oh, man. So how did you come to your decision of Cincy? I know you're from that area, but it looks like you had offers from other bigger programs. What kind of was the deciding factor to stay close to home?
Yeah, so I'm a mama's boy at heart. Family's pretty close to me.
Oh, well, at least you admitted it. Oh, okay.
You got offered by Tennessee. You could have been hanging out down here with us.
You would have been closer. You said, but I got the same results. I'm still here at the Titans,
right? But really, I mean, as I was looking for colleges, I sat down with Coach Fick and Coach Denbrock, who had a good track record with tight ends at the time. And, I mean, I just loved what they had to offer. So I kind of made the decision pretty quick, and I got through that process pretty easy. So.
All right, now that's leading us to the draft this season. What were your expectations going in? Like, where were you, your agent, and family, thinking you were going to go? Not team, but like what range of draft round?
I heard anything 3 through 5, and I really tried to put that kind of in my back pocket and not listen to it too much. I mean, this is a position that a lot of kids, a lot of people would pay a lot of money to be in. And I'm just grateful to be here and have this opportunity. So,
well, that's awesome, man. So who is kind of, maybe it's a couple guys that you kind of model your game a little bit that you think it's like in the NFL already, or past time that's no longer playing in the NFL with your style?
I've always said, growing up, Travis Kelce, went to Cincinnati. But, I'm just trying to focus on me right now and just kind of make a name for myself. So.
And lastly, man, you're a giant man. I play safety, so I don't know how I would have guarded you tall, athletic guys, man. But did you play basketball too? At any point in time, like high school or anywhere? I mean, when was the switch?
Yeah, I played like all kinds of sports growing up. I played basketball in high school though, and gave it up my senior year.
Oh, so, what other sport did you play?
Everything. I mean, I told the media after the draft, I started out in gymnastics.
Oh, cool.
I mean, soccer, volleyball, track and field, golf, tennis, baseball. Yeah, I mean, my parents put me in everything, so yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of Titans fans here say, how tall is your mom? Is she 5'2"? I don't know. They're joking around, but I don't know how tall your mom is. I have no idea. Where'd you get all that height from?
I have no clue. My mom's 5'6", my dad's 6'1". Okay. But honestly, I got height on both sides of my family.
There you have it. Josh Wiley from Cincinnati, now current Tennessee Titan tight end.
So, Josh, you started, I guess, high school, you were a wide receiver, and some genius of a coach thought, let's make this guy a tight end. And obviously here you are now drafted in the NFL as a tight end. What was that process like for you?
Yeah, so at the time,
you didn't want to do it.
It ain't sexy, right? Like, come on, man.
I'm an athlete. I play wide receiver. Come on,
yeah.
Tell us the truth, Josh.
Yeah, I ain't going to lie to you now. I mean, getting my hand in the dirt, you got to bite down on that mouthpiece and put your face in somebody. But, that's all things that I've grown to love throughout the years, and something that I've just been trying to improve on every day. So,
and how many pounds were you able to gain in college? Because I saw different stories. You kind of like bulked up as you got towards your senior year, and you were playing around 250, which you didn't go to Cincinnati near that weight, right?
No, I came in around 230, and they kind of wanted me lighter when I was younger, so they could flex me out a little bit more and, do some different things with me. But they wanted me a little bit more in the box the past 2 years, especially this past year. And, so I I got up to 250, and, I feel like I hold it pretty well. I feel really comfortable at this weight. So, yeah.
Yeah, I went to college at 127, left at 147. So I'm same as you, man. I gained 20 pounds. They needed more from me, so I gained 20 pounds too in college.
Whole bunch of peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, man, you're doing a whole bunch of protein shakes, man.
Josh Wiley, creatine. Josh Wiley, our guest here on Blaine and Mickey.
He probably like, man, you were really small.
You gonna see me soon, Josh? You'll know I'm full
Josh,
size.
Man, man, he threw me for a curveball, but do you know much about the Tennessee Titans offense and how have they gave you a hint like how they want to kind of use you and implement you into the scheme there that they run?
Yeah. I mean, I know tight ends are a big part of their offense, and I've just been told that they can see me in a role as Y or F, and I think what I can really add to the team too is just kind of special teams value. I played a bunch of special teams in college, and that's what I'm going to be looking to do from day one. So,
I want to take you through your draft process. What was the craziest question, even if it wasn't as crazy? Maybe you didn't get any crazy question that you were kind of asked, and you're like, man, why are you asking that? But you didn't say that, but you just answered the question.
Right. Yeah. So there's like interview prep that we did through my agency, and there's a couple questions that have right or wrong answers. And one of them was if I'm an apple or an orange guy. And I guess there's research behind it, and you're supposed to say apple because they're hard all the way to the core and oranges are soft on the inside. So that one was pretty unique.
Oh, okay. I like that one. I would have said apple just because, I don't have time to be peeling the orange side. It just takes too much time. I'm just hungry.
No doubt.
Oh, man, so that was cool. So what, you just spoke about food there. What, you're a foodie guy, music guy. Kind of take us through a little bit so we get to know you a little bit so all the fans know you.
Yeah, I would call myself a foodie for sure. I like to try new spots, try to find those hidden gems. But, yeah.
Yeah, Mickey knows all the spots.
I heard there's good food down there, too, so I'm excited about that.
You just ask on your Twitter, hey, Titans fans, what's the best place to get? Name whatever food you want, and you'll get suggestions out the yin-yang, dude.
Okay, good deal. I'll keep that in mind.
All right. And I guess lastly for me, man, a lot of guys have dealt with adversity throughout their lives in their sports career. That's all I'm talking about here. Is, I guess, give us, if you can your biggest adversity and as well as your favorite play. If someone was going to go back and watch you on a highlight of one play, give us that play.
Okay. So some of the biggest adversity, I went through in college was, that would have been 2021. I had lost like 3 family members and a good friend. And, yeah, that was pretty hard. Just getting through that. Leaning on the people close to me. But, and then your other question was, what was it?
Your favorite play. Yeah, your favorite play. That it sums up who you are. The Titans going to go look up this play. They're like, man, we got us a great one.
I don't know why. The one play that sticks out, just because it was, a big game. I was young. It was in 2020 versus Georgia. It was kind of like a diving touchdown catch. Dez was scrambling. And that one just sticks out. It was just kind of, it was big team, big game. It was right before half. We were down, and it put us up. So that was pretty cool.
Oh, so how long was it? It was for a touchdown?
Yeah, it was for a touchdown. I believe it was 17 yards.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. There you have it. Now everyone knows Josh Wiley.
All right. I had one
I'm a
more.
Midwest guy. I'm from Indianapolis, by the way. So, yeah, I know. I'm pretty familiar.
Okay.
Used to play Moeller.
That's right down the road.
High school, yeah.
You went where?
I went to a Catholic high school in Indianapolis, but we used to play Moeller every year at Kings Island.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, I see.
All right, one final question, just because I saw this in your draft questionnaire from the Titans. You were a teenage plumber?
Huh? You just put that on your resume, right? Just so you get a job. Just
it's all good to have other skills,
right?
but that was a surprise. I can't see a 6'7" guy getting under somebody's sink.
Whoa.
No, I wasn't doing none of that. I was just a shop boy. I was loading trucks, loading pipes on trucks and whatnot. That's funny you asked that.
That was just, you don't see that a lot of teenagers like paper route,
man.
or some
Yeah.
Burger King, but not a lot of people's like, well, I was a plumber. So
I wasn't getting no dirt on my hands. But,
That means he's more of a receiving tight end
Well,
than a
he was a
blocking tight end.
receiver then.
That's
He
what you
was a
just told me,
receiver.
Josh, man. We got you down. We got you pegged now.
he was a receiver in those days. That he would be a different plumber now. Listen, Josh, hey, thank you for the time, man. Great catching up with you. Can't wait to meet you and get to know you. And welcome to Nashville from us.
Man. Yeah, tell me how my top of my head looks too when you see me, man.
Thanks, buddy.
thank you guys for having me. I'll see you guys soon.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
it, Josh.
Josh Wiley, new Titans tight end. He said getting packed up, getting ready to come down here. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, a lot of talk from Tannehill today. A lot of Titans met the press, and Ryan Tannehill. Everybody wondering about trade rumors all year. Let's hear from Ryan Tannehill on what he thought of trade rumors when we come back.
Ying.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Appreciate the feedback on the interview from Sue Ann and Mr. HWTF, who said, great interview, fellas. We appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
It's good talking to that big rascal.
Yeah,
hey, man, I saw, and I don't remember who had it, Tim Kelly, a lot of 12 personnel. If you're a tight end on the Titans, you can play a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You get your plenty of chances.
I'm excited to hear the changes or tweaks to the offense.
Yeah.
For them to talk about it all, so freely. Because Brewer kind of mentioned it, and Tannehill kind of went into the saying, well, it's a little bit more than that. But
well, we can get into that because we got that coming up from Tannehill too. But a lot of talk about Tannehill getting traded this whole offseason. Heck, there's still people wondering about it. What might you be able to get for him? You don't have any draft picks left. Maybe you get a pick back. But he was asked about that today. Several questions, kind of where he is and his future and how's he feeling. But this was the Titans quarterback Ryan Tannehill on if he paid attention to trade rumors this offseason.
Yeah, I tried to stay out of it, honestly. Didn't see a lot of it. I'd get a text from a friend or something. Like, oh, really? So just try to stay out of as much as you can. I think riding that roller coaster is a tough one to ride. So just try to stay out of it, and I just kept my head down, kept doing the things I could do each and every day. And if something was going to happen, I'm sure they'd let me know. So didn't really ride that roller coaster.
Didn't want to ride the roller coaster. Didn't pay attention. His friends texted him, though.
Yeah, well, what happens is most – I'm not going to say all players, but most players who are secure in their abilities and what they're doing, even if they know they're going to get traded, all they want to know is who the Titans drafted. Mm-hmm. So they're not sitting there watching the draft like that. Mm-hmm. They may be, at a function, it's on and everything else, especially after the first couple rounds, So really, they just want to know who they drafted and see if they're familiar with them and how much is it going to help them or bring in competition against you and all those things. So I'm sure he saw that they drafted Levis, and he's like, okay, all right, let's see how this is going to go. So it's a potential that he could still get traded, to be honest, or he could still get cut. I wouldn't cut him at this point because then now somebody can just pick him up freely, but try to get some value. But it's hard to say that Levis can come in and grow to be better than Tannehill. If you guys correct me if I'm wrong, even before the season starts. But what I can say is what I asked you the other day is, does Levis' development and then you winning one or two less games make the opportunity for him to play sooner than later? And I think that's what some people consider now. A head coach is not, because he wants to win every game.
Right.
For the good of the team down the road or for next season. So I don't know if that's how they're thinking or not. Some people do. Me looking at the Titans, I think they're going to stick with Tannehill and just ride it out. Then they get nothing. Unless things change and they're going down a different road and not doing so well, then maybe they try to do something maybe before trade deadline during the season. But I don't know. Levis' development going into this and how well quickly he picks up everything and how well they think he can be, even after preseason, it could become a topic, especially if some other quarterbacks get injured in preseason or practice or what have you, and there may be an opportunity to then, swoop and trade them. This is an evolving, changing cycle here that you just never know. You could say, nah, we'll never do that, and then, we can see what happened. As Vrabel just learned last season, you can't say, we'll never trade A.J. Brown. Just don't know. Somebody can give you just like you always got a price, there's always a price.
The Falcons just keep coming to mind for me. What if you don't like what you're seeing from Ritter? What if Ritter tweaks something? What if something happens? What if Arthur Smith just thinks like, man, this guy's he's not going to have it in year two, and I don't have forever. I need to go get a guy that I know can win in this offense. Who could win in this offense?
They drafted a running back. Did they draft a running back?
Yeah, they drafted Dejani.
Oh,
he's going.
Yeah, top 10.
Number 7.
Oh, that's going to be in competition for Corey Davis too. Watch.
Yep.
He knows that offense.
Which, by the way, Randall Cobb signed him with the Jets per Blaine's guy Schefter.
But you also said Schefter said that Corey Davis is potentially going to get cut.
No, I didn't say that. Mickey said that. Mickey saying that because of his cap number.
I thought you said Schefter. Said
you got to pay Aaron Rodgers all the money. You can't pay Corey Davis. Listen,
that would free up $10 million. Someone said. I was like, what?
Yes, it's 10. We'll tell you that. I can tell you, I can tell you everything next on that. And we can hear from the Titans players about Tim Kelly's offense, what you noticed that they talked about today.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Offense might be looking a little bit different. We'll get to all that
Let's
next.
see.
It is 2:01. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. Titans quarterback Ryan Tannehill took to the podium earlier today discussing the Titans drafting Will Levis, the wide receiver room, and coming off the ankle injury from last season and working in the Titans building. Ryan Tannehill says he's good to go.
Yeah, just coming off the injury at the end of last year, having surgery. I wanted to do everything I could to get back and be ready to go by this time of the year, and felt like being here in the building with trainers and therapists that I trusted and felt like they could do a good job of rehabbing me and get me ready to go.
The NFL news of the day, Randall Cobb is a New York Jet. A one-year deal worth $3 million, potentially up to $4 million, according to Jordan Schultz, as Cobb reunites with Aaron Rodgers. Major League Baseball, the Braves improved to 20-10 with a 6-0 win over the Marlins on Tuesday. They are in Miami again today, a 5:40 first pitch. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once, and your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. I'm not going to ask you to hit the breaking news sounder, but the Titans may get a receiver indirectly because Adam Schefter.
Quit teasing me.
Adam Schefter reported today Randall Cobb will sign with the Jets. So if everybody wondered, might it be? Here's why I've been on the whole Corey Davis might become available, whether you want him or not. He'd be better than he'd be. I mean, I don't think anybody's saying no to Corey Davis if he were to become available.
You better make sure that he's saying yes to the Titans. Go both ways.
Yeah, the Titans might be saying no to Corey Davis.
This is true, too.
No.
He is a repeat offender.
Yes, he is. But, all that goes out the wazoo to me when they like a player, though.
Yeah.
So you draft Tajay Spears, 2 torn ACLs. No, yeah. I mean,
no cartilage.
No cartilage. I mean, so when you like a player, it doesn't matter. See, that's where they, we want speed. Who did we get in the draft this fast? Crickets. See, so that's why you got to take everything with a grain of salt. It's all of us to ponder and have fun for us to have discussions about. But once again, your actions tell you what you're getting. You didn't do any of that. And you knew you needed a receiver, and you took one in the 7th round.
Crickets.
Hey, look, I went in the late draft. You're not a contributor besides special team coming in. That's it. That ain't addressing wide receiver. This is 2 years, huh? And I know it's a different, GM and everything, so you got to fix a lot of holes and messes. But, man, I'm just like Tannehill. I was a little surprised I didn't get a receiver either.
Yeah, he said that. He said a lot of things.
You know what he's saying that too? But they took a quarterback.
Hey, if Dow turns out half as good as the Hitman did on a late-round pick, then they might be okay.
Yeah, and I do actually like him. I like how he comes out of his breaks. For
like
a tall
arms.
guy.
You seen his arms?
Yeah, I ain't worried about how big somebody's arm is as a wide receiver. But, yeah, and so he can play special teams, to your point, though.
Yeah.
I think he's a younger, better version of NWI. I really do believe that. So eventually he could turn into, something pretty decent. So, don't slack on him. But that's why I said the word immediate impact.
Corey Davis would have an immediate impact to the Jets' cap if he were cut. It would cost them $666,000 of dead cap. It would save them $10.5 million. It would save $10.5 million on the cap. He's by far their most expensive receiver and biggest cap hit.
Yeah.
He's about 5% of their cap.
Yeah. Corey Davis did some podcast. I remember I went back and listened to it. He wasn't too happy. He said nobody called him from the Titans when they cut him.
It was Darren Bates' podcast, I believe.
Bates, okay.
Yeah.
What he said? He said nobody even called him to even negotiate with him. That's what he said.
Yeah.
At all.
He got offered his deal from the Jets, and it was like, well, enjoy New York. But they could call and say, we didn't do that. Rand could call him and go, I didn't do that to you. I want you. Now, when I cut you, I'll call you and tell you. But today,
that's his selling pitch. That's his selling pitch. What's he gonna say? Because Mickey told me to.
Well, what's Buck been talking about? Lucas, he lives here, right? I mean, I've heard other people say
Corey. To do. His family lives here.
Corey Davis, he can come home to work every day. Go home.
I'm afraid he's gonna go down the road to the Atlanta Titans.
Oh, the Falcons.
if that happens,
the Atlanta, Tennessee Falcons. 100% it could happen.
Oh, man.
Anybody that gets cut, there's like just a pipeline, and you just get in it and it shoots you to Atlanta.
And just think, we're talking about a guy who wasn't even an elite player. He was just a really good player. Considering it where he went in the draft, he was a disappointment. Let's be honest.
Oh, he was 5th overall.
Yeah, that's pretty. So that's where we are at with desperation and hope that we can get a good, solid receiver at this point. Now, I keep saying, I hope they got something in their back pocket. What's in their back pocket is they're hoping that somebody gets cut that wants to come to the Titans.
That's it. And they're not to overpay him.
I'm going to clarify that, right.
Because that guy's going to come, throw me the ball. I need $2 more million.
Yeah, because they're not a pass-oriented team. Now, could they say, but we're changing. We got Tim Kelly.
They could.
Mm-hmm. Because that's what they're putting out there like right now, even the players. Now, when the players start saying it, that's when you know it's real. And I go, uh-oh. And I don't mean talking about they're going to start throwing the ball around the yard. But if they throw just a little bit more, catching people off guard when they're running and passing, I think they'll be fine. And that may affect Henry too. And when I say that, I mean he may not get as many touches. And we all know he's a guy that likes to get his touches to make him be effective. So that could be into the play of why they got Tajay Spears. They know where they're going. We don't. We haven't seen the offense.
You know, though, Ryan Tannehill talked about that today, and that's a perfect segue to what he said about Tim Kelly's offense today. Here it is, Ryan.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a big difference, right? New terminology, new concepts, huge changes, but, fresh line of thinking on things. So just having to get up to speed with how we're doing things, what we're calling things, different ways we're attacking the defense. And that's what we're doing right now is using this time when we're not going against the defense to just try to learn the offense, get accustomed to the new terminology, the new terms, the new routes, and be able to translate that onto the field as we go.
What are you maybe most excited about in the framework of that?
There's a lot of excitement. I love working with Tim. Like I said, fresh mind, bringing in some new ideas, new concepts, different ways to attack the defense than we've had around here the last few years. So, definitely some excitement there.
She kind of made it sound like tempo. Might be maybe tempo, maybe a little bit emphasized. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think so. We'll see as we get going, right? But we know we want to put pressure on the defense. That might be tempo, might be personnel changes, might be different sets than in personnels than defenses are typically seeing. So, a big emphasis I think is just putting pressure on the defense, not just tempo. There's a lot of ways you can do that, and that's one of those tools.
Only pressure been put on any defense around here was, hey, this big guy's going to run at you a lot. Do you feel pressured by that?
Yeah, well, some did. I'm not going to say that a lot, man.
See, that's really big guy.
You better double strap up your chin strap, man, because, that's a lot of pressure.
This guy's going to run at you a lot
king,
today.
Man, and not playing around, man.
I told you.
You see his work, I saw him running these hills, boy. He got up there, he was tired, too,
like
boy.
Rocky.
Yeah,
it's a gravel
bro.
hill, too, next to an interstate. Like,
Yeah,
did they just
I
dump
saw
him out by the
peeling
road somewhere?
Yeah, peeling him out, man. They was timing him, too, so that wasn't the first one. It was like the last one.
He did look warm there, though, and I was jealous.
Yeah, I don't know where he was at, but.
Texas, right? Is he a Texas trainer?
I don't know.
I believe so.
I think that's right.
That's what it's Dallas, right? But that's where he lives, too, right?
Football Fred on the Zone TV chat says it sounds like they're about to run the same offense and just add tempo to it. I don't think that. I don't think they've been attacking any defenses.
That you can do than tempo. He did say that.
He
now,
said
I'm
more
sure
than
that's
that.
part of it, but I think they're just making some tweaks to the offense, and it's going to look a little bit different. We shall see. I'm just hoping and praying because that's what I've been asking for the longest. The only thing left is to get me another receiver. Then we good. I think we can compete against anybody with variable coaching. I think we good. And Tannehill. I mean, people think Levis is going to be better than Tannehill. That's not going to happen. Not no first year. No, but he may look somewhat similar.
The all-time greatest bamboozle in the history of recent Titans football was Tannehill and Henry got bamboozled last year by a lack of weapons and no offensive line.
Well, they addressed their offensive line. They did. I'm hoping they come together sooner than later. They figure out where everybody's gonna be, but they got some time. They got some players. Yeah. So they got a quarterback, future quarterback, current quarterback. Got a running back. They got the current running back. They got future running back.
Well, for 4 years anyway, maybe.
Never know, man. What's so funny? We're talking about, and all we can go by is the data, about his knees and everything about, Tajay Spears. But there's been some other guys that have messed up knees, and then they end up having a nice, lengthy, 8-year career, and it never came about until they were done. they walk around maybe now with a limp, but they survived it, and you just don't know. Everything's a roll of the dice. So it's just interesting that they didn't take that into consideration, besides, oh, well, he'll be able to get by for his first 4 years of his contract. But it didn't scare them away initially, is what I'm getting at. Because obviously he showed so well at the Senior Bowl is where it really happened.
He gained 400 yards rushing in his last 2 college football games to win the AAC championship against UCF, because I watched that because all my friends work for UCF.
Yep.
He ran all over them.
But
He
had
did the same
200
thing to
versus
USC.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one live.
On like 17 carries.
Yeah. But see, you just never know. USC probably didn't want to play in the game. I mean, you just never
Against
know. But
Tulane?
he still did it, though.
He did it.
That defense
He
for
was running
USC.
like, it was 7-on-7, man.
Oh,
I was
man.
Like, dang, man, what are y'all doing? But
I
I'm
mean,
not
he
gonna take
made
that
them
away
look
from him.
bad, but they were bad.
Yeah. Yeah, he still performed. Then he summed that up with that Senior Bowl performance. I mean, every day in practice, I was watching him. I was like, "Oh man!"
Hey,
I was like, "Oh my, he's pretty good."
we sat here from 1 to 3
I
every
thought he
day.
was
I'm like,
good, but
look
I'm
at that guy.
Yeah, he might have been the best running back there. And by the way, they had McIntosh from Georgia was there. It was some elite guys there that went to bigger name schools, and he stood out. So, he stood out probably to a lot of guys, and that's why they said, we'll look past these ACLs because this ACL looked real good last year.
And for fans who wonder, and you know this if you're listening, they have comprehensive. When you go to the combine, you've talked about your own experience. They push and pull and drag and look at everything you got and pull. You told me they pulled on your legs, so you're like, that's enough. Stop.
I did. I was like, yeah, I just tore my ACL if I have one.
Well, he couldn't say that.
No, but I did. I mean, they grabbed my knee and went, I mean, they pushed it up and down. Like, what are you doing?
What'd they say?
He said, we just never seen no knees that move like this. I know, because you just moved it.
You say me neither.
Me either.
Not till now.
Yeah, I said, my stuff is irritated right now, man. Don't do that again, please, sir.
Then they said, hey, you're going to get up in 6 hours and run a 40, too. Your life depends on
at
it.
6 a.m.
6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I said, oh, yeah, I'm be
Sleep
there.
well.
I'm with this ACL that I don't know if I have still.
How much you sleep that night before you ran your 40?
Shoot, none. Besides my knees aching and the nerves. I know my roommate was like, man, what are you? Hey, man, I can't
Who was
sleep.
your roommate
Oh, I forgot.
at the combine?
I want to say, I can't remember. Oh, it was Ryan McNeil. He went first round of the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
I want to say it was him. I could be getting it wrong, but yeah. Because I was hanging out with a lot of you dudes because of him. When actually there was no Ball State people there.
Right.
besides me.
You were all
So
alone. Right.
I got to be.
You were the only Mac guy there, probably.
Yeah, so it was Michael Barrow. So I was getting in the hot tub warming up with Michael Barrow and some, what was the other linebacker they had at the time? I want to say Darren Smith. Darren Smith. It went to the Cowboys.
I want to hear, like,
He was fast, too.
when you write your autobiography, Hot Tubbing with Michael Barrow. That'd be the title.
It was cool, man. I was like, oh, dang, I wish I would have went to the U.
Me too.
Yeah, I was like, I could have played there. They're like, oh, yeah, but you would have been a safety already.
Right. Yeah, those guys like,
especially
hey,
after
man.
that slow 40 you just ran.
With them bow legs.
He said, but you would have fit in, though. We definitely knockout artists. We like those kind of dudes.
Wait, look. What is it? Break? Like, is it worthy of
No, it's not worth the breaking news sounder.
this?
Cam Wolf of NFL Network just tweeted that Mike Vrabel has been voted by fans into the Patriots Hall of Fame.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Oh, see, they got a fans vote for come on, Titans fan, we got to step that up. I mean, organization.
Cardinal fans vote. I'm a big Cardinals baseball fan. The fans picked the Hall of Fame for the Cardinals.
Oh man. Oh, so it's based off of where your organization's at?
Why don't we take a break? And when we come back, Jordan Dejani will join us to talk NFL.
Well, I say that
headlines.
talking about tears, like winning championships. Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Cardinals.
Wayne and Mickey, 1045 The Zone. Jordan Dejani, weekly visit with him. We do this every Wednesday. JD, man, how in the world are you doing? How's the world treating you these days? Thanks for jumping on with us today.
What's going on, my friends? Man, what a week. It feels like it's been 2 weeks since I last spoke to you guys. We had the Lamar Jackson extension come down. Yeah. We had the whole NFL draft happen. We're welcoming 6 new Titans to the two-tone blue family or whatever you want to call it. It's been quite a week, man.
Well, and the Titans taking those 2 receivers early. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. That's something that didn't happen. And then you wrote about it, and you were so deep into solutions that you mined the XFL to try to find receiver solutions for them. What a column that you wrote for CBS Sports.
That was a therapeutical thing for me, right? I needed therapy after that. And, I mean, I had the feedback from that column was fantastic, right? I had people reaching out to me saying, well, I don't feel better about the situation. I don't like any of the options he spelled out for me. And I said, yeah, that's kind of my point here. It's slim pickings at this point in free agency after the draft. But adding one of these guys, no matter who it would be from whatever section, would at least make me feel just a little bit better about the Titans wide receiving situation. That's obviously something that Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel have talked about during their mid-draft press conferences. But, yeah, man, something has to be done. I don't care if it's Corey Davis. I don't care if they make a trade for Denzel Mims. I think something needs to happen to upgrade this wide receiving core if you want to have success on offense in 2023.
If somebody had told you, I don't know, like as the season was wrapping up last year, all right, Robert Woods is gone, you probably would have said, okay. And then you would have said, okay, well, tell me, like, okay. And they would have said, you're getting a new GM. You don't know who it's going to be yet. You'll get it. And they had said to you, on May the 3rd, if you looked at the Titans receiver room, the only new faces are a guy named Chris Moore, who I would bet you had to Google, and then a young man who's local and has a great story in the 7th round from UT Martin. That's who we added to the wide receiver room. You would have said there's no bleeping way.
I would have laughed at you. There's no doubt about it. With the new general manager coming in especially, I would have said, okay, cool. So we're going outside the building for offensive coordinator help. Here comes Eric Bieniemy to the offensive coordinator seat. We're going first-round wide receiver, and that's not going to be the only pick we make at that position. That would have been my mindset. That's exactly what I would have thought happened, but exactly the opposite happened. So it's a question worth pondering. And, you know, we heard some comments today from Ryan Tannehill and Chigo Okonkwo about how the offense is going to look different, right? There's going to be more speed on the field. My only question is, where is that speed going to come from, right? From Jordan Dejani, who joins us now, CBS Sports, at Jordan Dejani on Twitter.
Well, Jordan, no, you're not, looking at college athletes, but what did you think about overall, I guess, the draft for the Titans? And let's just start with Levis and Skoronski. What's your evaluation, I guess, on what they did do?
What's up, Len? Yeah, let me tell you, man. Remember I did a Titans 7-round mock draft about a month ago or so. In that process, I discovered that it was going to be hard to have a great draft for the Titans. With several needs to fill, limited picks, a weird wide receivers class, I had to complete the Titans mock draft probably 10 times before I found one I was okay publishing. And even when I published it, I didn't even love it. So I knew it was going to be kind of a tough process. Now, with the Skoronski pick, it wasn't the sexiest thing in the world, but it was a pick that you couldn't knock. The biggest need for the Titans was obviously the offensive line. Now, I will say this. I don't like picking a guard at number 11 overall. If my mindset, if I was Rand Carthon, would be I'm definitely sticking him at left tackle, at least for the training camp. I'm going to see how he fares there because I'd rather have a franchise left tackle as opposed to a franchise left guard. So that'd be something that, we can talk about as we progress through the offseason, preseason. Now, as for Will Levis, I did not hate the pick. At least it wasn't at number 11 overall, right? It was in the 2nd round. Yes, Tennessee had to trade up to get him. I get that. But my conspiracy theory is that if the draft was not in Kansas City, Will Levis would have been a first-round pick. There were multiple teams trying to get into the end of the 1st round there on that opening night. And the Chiefs, of course, held the last pick. And I'm sure they wanted to make a pick in front of their home fans so they could hold that weird 15-minute concert or whatever they did on Thursday night. I think that Will Levis could have been a first-round pick if another team was sitting there with the final pick in the 1st round because teams would have had that fifth-year option on his contract. So I think it was good value getting Will Levis in the second round for the Tennessee Titans. I like him as a prospect. He's not in the elite tier, in my opinion. But like I was telling Lucas before we hopped on the air, all we can do now is just be cautiously optimistic about his prospects as a Titan.
I guess, everybody wants to give him grades for what it's worth at this moment in time without any seeing any of the players on the field yet. But I guess what grade did you give the Titans if you had to?
Yeah, I'm leaning somewhere around a B- or a B. And the pick that kind of saved it, I don't want to say save it. That's an exaggeration. But the pick that I liked, and let me tell you, I was very, very sad to hear that you didn't love the pick of my Maryland left tackle, Jalen Duncan, right? But I can't disagree with anything you said. I mean, he's athletic, but he's inconsistent. But he's a guy in the 6th round. I think that's great value for getting a player like that. And he's definitely someone with potential. He's athletic. Now we just got to figure out what makes him tick, right? We got to find a way to get him a mean streak so he can be the offensive lineman that everybody wants guarding Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, no, I would completely agree with all of that. I guess lastly here, not with college, but Lamar Jackson's deal done. Who won or lost here? It seems like both sides got a little bit of something and give and take, but give us your analysis of I guess, that whole contract.
Yeah, good question. I actually did a column looking at the winners and losers from this league-altering transaction, Lamar Jackson becoming the highest-paid NFL player in NFL history. And we were talking, is Lamar Jackson a winner or a loser? Well, I think he's kind of riding the fence here. I mean, Lamar Jackson, the player, is obviously a winner. He like I said, he's now the highest-paid player in league history. But Lamar Jackson, the agent, well, he caved a little bit from his demands, right? He wanted more than $230 million guaranteed. He only got $185 million guaranteed. So we'd be doing a disservice if we completely ignored that fact of this whole transaction. So good for Lamar Jackson, but obviously he didn't get what he wanted. And here's the other thing I want to talk about. The big winner from this Lamar Jackson transaction is NFL owners. They didn't have to watch another quarterback get a fully guaranteed contract and drastically shift on the process and what goes into re-signing star quarterbacks. Because let's say the Baltimore Ravens or another team gave Lamar Jackson what he was asking for, NFL owners would have absolutely hated it. So everybody, all these GMs were very excited to see a deal get done and see a deal that did not include a fully guaranteed contract.
No doubt about it. I guess even to add to that, I would say Lamar won. They added Zay Flowers, OBJ, I think another tight ends. Man, they got some good tight ends anyway with Andrews starting with him. So, man, looks like their receiving core is going to be pumped up, even some past high picks as well at receiver.
You are 100% correct. And I am super intrigued to see what the Baltimore Ravens are going to look like because the biggest thing they did this offseason was switching up offensive coordinators, right? Todd Monken is now in charge. We can expect to see more passing from the Baltimore Ravens offense. Now, of course, the identity of the offense itself is going to be Lamar Jackson and his dual threat ability. But we're going to see more from the passing game. They've added Zay Flowers, Odell Beckham Jr., a couple tight ends, like you said. I'm very intrigued to see what this Ravens offense is going to look like in 2023.
Jordan Dejani, NFL writer for CBS Sports.
JD, what'd you think about your other fellow Jordan Love getting the option from the Packers, but it wasn't the option? Like he got more money, but they took on less liability. What an interesting thing that happened in Green Bay.
Extension.
Absolutely fascinating. Totally fascinating. So, first of all, it sounds like the Packers were not going to pick up the option on Jordan Love's deal, right? I think the GM even said that, it's kind of hard to guarantee all that money to one player without really having him take a lot of meaningful snaps. So this new deal, which is, it's not an extension, but it kind of is an extension. It's basically a one-year deal that starts next year in 2024. It's $13.5 million in guaranteed money for 2024, but it can be it can be worth up to $22.5 million if he hits every incentive. So if the Packers had picked up Jordan Love's fifth-year option, the team would have been on the hook for $20.27 million in 2024. So this is giving Jordan Love the opportunity to earn that money. They weren't going to be picking up the option. So on the Packers' end, they'll be saving over $7 million in guaranteed money if Jordan Love struggles. But if he balls out, let's say he's the MVP, he can make more money than what the fifth-year option was worth. So a lot of people are going to discuss, if Jordan Love was confident in himself, maybe he shouldn't have signed this extension because he could have signed for more money next offseason. Well, my argument for that is, let's say Jordan Love is the best quarterback in the NFL in 2023. The Packers can still give him another extension to give him more money and lock him down more long term. So this was a pretty fascinating transaction, right? It's a one-year deal. It's not the fifth-year option, but it gives both sides some leeway in case Jordan Love is very bad or he's very good. So it's going to be interesting to see how this affects Green Bay moving forward.
All right, here's your next column idea for CBS Sports. Because Schefter, I know he's not your colleague, but is reporting Randall Cobb, of course, what we all thought would happen, will sign with the Jets. So who gets cut by the Jets? And if it's Corey Davis, is he willing to come back to the Titans? And that ties into your receiver column from a couple of days ago. There you go. You're welcome. There's your next column for CBS Sports.
Man, you hit the nail on the head. I almost didn't want to bring up Corey Davis in the column just in case the Jets were checking it out. Because if Corey Davis is released, the Tennessee Titans are going to be so fast to that phone. And to answer your question, yeah, I think Corey Davis would be interested in coming back to Tennessee. This is where he's had the most success in his football career. This is where he was a top 5 pick. This is home to him in a lot of different ways. I think his wife went to the University of Tennessee. So there's some connection here with the Titans franchise, as we all know. Now, I mean, it's a good question to ask who's going to be cut. And you're looking at the wide receiving core, and there are a ton of players. I think I'm looking at like 11 players right now. There's no way they're going to fly with that into the regular season. Corey Davis on his current contract is definitely going to be a candidate. And I promise, if they end up releasing him, the Tennessee Titans will be quick to call.
$10.5 million in cap savings, which is essentially what Jordan's yearly salary is with CBS Sports. And he joins us now on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, we're talking about receivers who potentially get cut. I know DeAndre Hopkins didn't attend the Cardinals camp. You go through maybe some names of some guys potentially could get cut, like DeAndre Hopkins as well as Corey Davis, you think? Or maybe out there, potentially?
Yeah, that's a good question. You definitely caught me off guard. I think that's a really good article idea that we could do over at CBSSports.com because, Mike Vrabel's talked about it, right? We're going to see a lot of roster turnover over the next couple of weeks when it comes to teams trying to settle their salary cap number as they sign their rookie class, and also just kind of looking over and seeing what turnover they got from their draft classes. There's going to be veterans out there that will be expendable, and the New York Jets are definitely a good option with that. And we know Aaron Rodgers likes to have a hand in the roster makeup as well, so I'm sure he'll be involved in those decision-making. Now, the DeAndre Hopkins situation is pretty fascinating to me because he had some comments recently saying that maybe he won't leave Arizona, but, you look at the whole – you take a step back and look at the situation, I think that DeAndre Hopkins would be best suited to be traded or released and basically sign with a legitimate NFL contender, whether that be the Buffalo Bills or Kansas City Chiefs. But his recent comments definitely gave me pause. I do think that he's a cut candidate. I'd have to look at the contract numbers to see if it makes financial sense, but he's definitely a player to keep an eye on just in general over the next few weeks.
I guess, and then for the Titans fans, realistic expectations for Will Levis?
Well, I'm hoping that he sits his entire rookie year because if he's not sitting his entire rookie year, that means Ryan Tannehill got hurt or something bad happened. Listen, I know that it's hard for in-state Tennessee fans to accept Will Levis into the football family. I'm totally aware of that. But listen, I really do like this guy as a prospect. He's not C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young in my mind, but he definitely has an NFL-caliber arm. I think he has a special arm when he throws the ball from different angles. The oomph he can put on his passes, if you will. Now, there's a lot left to be desired when it comes to his decision-making and maybe his progression, but you can make an argument out there, right? He wasn't exactly in the most stable situation over at Kentucky. He wasn't surrounded by all-pro wide receivers and offensive linemen. So when I look at this guy, I definitely think he has potential. Now it all comes down to the Titans staff. Do we have full confidence in Mike Vrabel and the new offensive coordinator, the quarterback's coach, that they can develop Will Levis and get the most out of what this quarterback, in terms of the NFL player he can be? I think it's worth being cautiously optimistic. Like I said, I do like this draft pick. He wasn't my number one choice, but I definitely think he's a prospect that has potential.
Well, I know it's kind of off the cuff, but what team or teams did you like their picks? I like the Philadelphia Bulldogs, but it's because I'm familiar with most of those guys. But, anybody off the top of your head you can think of that you liked how they did in the draft? NFL teams?
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that I thought did well. The Eagles, as you mentioned, are definitely a big winner, and we don't have to run through their picks. They all came from Georgia. They're going to be good. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, how about the other team in Pennsylvania? Broderick Jones from Georgia, Joey Porter Jr., we know his connection to the franchise there. Keanu Benton, Wisconsin. They got Spencer Anderson, another Maryland offensive lineman that I like. And then, of course, Darnell Washington, who fell all the way to pick number 93 overall, reportedly due to medicals. That's a guy I would have loved on the Tennessee Titans. Another team that I'm going to bring up, and, they're not going to headline draft winners, but the Cleveland Browns, I thought, did a fantastic job. This is a team that did not have a pick in the first 2 rounds of the draft. Yet they still came away with the haul. They got former Tennessee wideout Cedric Tillman. They got this guy, DeJuan Jones from Ohio State, who's 6'8", 370 pounds. If he's committed to the game of football, he could be a special talent. Dorian Thompson-Robinson is an interesting quarterback from UCLA, another Ohio State offensive lineman they got in the 6th round. So the Cleveland Browns are definitely a winner for me. And finally, I'll say the Detroit Lions. They started off a little bit shaky on opening night. There's no doubt about it. But Sam Laporta, Brian Branch from Alabama, Hendon Hooker from Tennessee, I thought the Detroit Lions actually put together a great draft class. Just ignore that they took a running back in the top 12 picks that wasn't Bijan Robinson. Ignore that for a second. When you look at this class on paper, I really do like what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell did in Detroit.
There you have it.
Jordan Dejani, on the way out, Mel Kiper, there's some buzz from some people that Mel should go into the Hall of Fame in some capacity, I guess, as a contributor. What do you think about that?
Well, he's been doing the draft for like 100 years now, so I think that he absolutely should be. I mean, when it comes to draft coverage itself, and, I'm sure that everybody my age and Lucas and everybody growing up, you're seeing Mel Kiper on TV, right? Whenever it comes draft time, that was always the voice of reason, the expert when it came to the NFL draft. So, yeah, the fact that he's been doing this so long, consistently, successfully, and he does a really good job on TV as a broadcaster as well. I think Mel Kiper is one of the best, and I'm very glad that he's continuing to do his work because the draft would be different without him.
There you go, JD. Fantastic stuff.
Appreciate it, bro.
Oh, man. CBS covered the draft, post-draft coverage. Amazing. You got a huge article, best pick, worst pick, most interesting pick from every team by Jordan Dejani and a cast of thousands and so much more. Go check it out and follow JD on Twitter at Jordan Dejani. Thank you for the time again today. You crushed it again.
All right. You guys are the best. Appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
Our buddy
it,
Jordan Dejani. Love having him on. All right. We all think the Titans should have drafted a wide receiver. What did Ryan Tannehill say about it? He addressed this subject today in a press conference. We will hear from him about that next. And you wonder about Corey Davis. We have a chatter in the Zone TV chat who claims to have some inside info. I'll share it next. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. So Ryan Tannehill asked about everything today under the sun. They made him available. And he got asked, like, hey, man, were you surprised they didn't take a wide receiver earlier? And as Blaine pointed out earlier, he was pretty candid in his response. That's what the Titans quarterback said. Lucas says he's not running. So just think about what he might have said and enjoy Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Oh.
Lucas is pressing
That
buttons.
was pretty good.
I thought I nailed that. And it would have had like some music underneath it.
Oh, man. And it's
Think how
faded
good
it
that would
out.
have sounded. Yes.
Oh, man.
It would have sounded great.
Lucas missed a grave opportunity there.
He's still in there. He's ready now. Here we go, just like we planned it.
Yeah.
They don't ask me, my thoughts on draft picks. Mike and Rand make those decisions. Obviously, I knew it was an area that could be addressed, but they did just a little bit probably later than I thought it was going to. But we added some other key positions, some talent that will help us across the board.
Oh, he covered himself there. We did add some other key positions that we needed as well.
Like the guys who blocked for me.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I was kind of surprised by that, because I was surprised by it last year, too. And I'm surprised AJ got traded because they said that one.
Oh, I wish he would have said that. Oh, that would have been historic. We might have been the last time we've ever saw Teddy. You would have walked up that stage.
Like, man, we don't talk
come
like
into
that.
the meeting room, man.
What if he just said that? Because, he knows. This is the end of my contract. They drafted a guy in the second round.
Yeah, this is it.
Well, I'm going to just be honest with y'all. I was surprised they didn't take anybody last year.
Yeah.
And then
so this really didn't surprise me.
So honestly, I'm not surprised at all. But maybe I won't get killed this year if I'm still here, if I don't get traded for a third-round pick or something, because I got so beat up, and I'm feeling better now. But remember last year when they made a big deal because Mahomes, played with an ankle issue, and then like twice I played with a high ankle sprain. Remember, I just kept playing, and nobody ever talked about it on SportsCenter. Remember that? Because I did the same thing he did twice. And then nobody ever mentioned it on SportsCenter. But, yeah, I did that too. But, yeah, I was surprised by all that.
Oh, man, we just came up with a segment. Mickey's rant. That was Mickey's rant. Oh, man.
Mickey's musings.
Yeah, musings or what? Yeah, something.
Or like, what would Ryan say? But it wouldn't be me. It would be Ryan Tannehill.
Ryan Tannehill. No, what does Ryan Tannehill want to say?
Don't you think he wants to say that? He's got nothing to lose. I mean, at some point,
that was more than I thought we got out of it. That was pretty good.
At some point, the people who employ you, and we all been there. Their actions tell you, hey, you're not super important here anymore, right? Like, hey, your replacement is on the way. We found your. At some point,
that's what you think about sports, though. That it's clear as day. It's not like at another, corporate job.
You don't have to wonder in sports.
Yeah, like, well, dang, they took him. They spent a lot. They went high.
I wasn't watching the draft, but I got a lot of texts. They just took some guy at my position real high.
Yeah, he might have been in Aruba somewhere, man.
He was drinking his. What's the soda that he drinks, Lucas, that you drink that has energy?
Oh, it's the Celsius drink.
Celsius, yeah.
Is that what he drinks?
Yeah, I remember last year everybody's wondering how he was doing after everything, and then he didn't tweet for months, and it was him drinking the ice cold Celsius on the deck of his boat or whatever. And he was just fine. He was fine.
Oh, man. I hope he calls Corey Davis, though, because some people are saying that's going to happen.
Okay, we have been on this for a long time.
No, you have. You have been the first round. I was like, man, okay, we get Corey Davis. The Titans may not be like, I don't care about no freaking Corey Davis. The Titans ain't going to sign nothing we say.
Y'all ever heard the Chris Rock sketch about the cracker? Like, that's a good cracker. What is that, a Ritz? Anybody heard that sketch where, like, if you ain't had anything and somebody gives you one cracker, like it's the best cracker you ever had?
Yeah, I think I was drinking something that wasn't cracker, but when he said that.
But, hey, man, if you look at the receiver room right now and somebody's like, here's Corey Davis, you would be like, are you freaking kidding me? Corey Davis?
Yeah.
So Luke, JLC15 in his own TV chat, this is all I know about Luke, is he weighed in on the chat. He said, I'm just letting y'all know, because I teased this. I said, we got his own TV chatter. Says he got inside info. I'm just letting y'all know. He said, Corey still lives here, and he really likes it here. My friend works at a golf course he goes to all the time. He said he gets recognized more here than in New York. And then I responded via the Zones chat, and I said, And he said, he coming back home, no doubt.
Oh.
So you heard it here first. Luke, JLC15.
I knew he already lived here, and his family lives here, his wife and kids and stuff, but it never works out that way. This is a perfect spot. And maybe if it does come down to the Titans, then the Titans will deny that they didn't even bid on him or anything, and then he'll go sign somewhere else. So, yeah, man, that would be an easy transition for him and for the Titans. But we shall see. I can't wait to see how this all plays out because remember, we need to trust them. They know better than us. So we should be saying they don't need no receivers. Then they'll go get one.
100%. They're good. That room is set.
Yeah, that's set. That it puts fear in defensive backs' minds.
If I'm a defensive coordinator right now and I'm looking at the game, I'm going to say I'm going to sneak a 12th guy on the field and put him in the box too.
Yeah.
Everybody else, I'm a one-on-one.
And they may catch one here or there, but for the long haul, especially if I got two or three good corners, oh, man.
Man versus man, and then everybody else in the box. So I see what Tim Kelly can do. Meanwhile, we got to get out of here, and my rant is over, and 3HL gets you the rest of the way home.
But in the meantime,
in between time, peace.